Hi, I'm Michelle and welcome to Unicorn and Centaur, my YouTube channel where I make videos for extra equestrians. Today's video might seem a little counterintuitive, but it's why you shouldn't buy a horse and what to do instead. I know what y'all are thinking. Why is this equestrian lady who loves horses more than anything else in the world and has her own horses that she lords above me, why is she telling me not to buy a horse? I can explain. I know you want a horse. Trust me, I know. You want your very own unicorn to feed it treats and brush its mane and be its best friend and live happily ever after. I know you. I see you. I was you for 40 plus years. But listen to me, listen, just hear me out. And if you think I'm wrong at the end of this video, then you can go live your life and make your choices and buy a horse and I can't stop you. I'm not your real mom. But hear what I have to say first. Horses are expensive. Now I know you know this, but do you know this? When you do your fantasy horse budget, I know you have factored in things like boarding costs, farrier care, and veterinarian services. But have you calculated emergency vet visits? Do you have any idea how often that happens? And have you even considered the non-financial costs? One of my barn friends has an injured horse right now. He's been on stall rest for over a month. That is weeks of my friend rearranging her schedule to care for this horse that no one can ride. Are you ready for that? I've been there. Remember last year when Sonny injured his stifle joint and he needed 3 months on pasture rest? That was 3 months of me visiting him out in the pasture and wondering if we were ever going to have another trail ride again. And that was just the pasture rest part of his recovery. In the first 48 hours after his injury, we were watching him to see if it got worse, in which case we would have had to euthanize him. That was the longest 48 hours of my entire life. Are you ready for that? Are you ready for the injuries that require you to apply medication or other therapies to your horse every few hours for weeks on end? Meanwhile, there are no trail rides or lessons with your trainer. Horses live well into their 20s and even 30s and can live a full decade beyond their riding years. Are you ready to pay board for 10 years for a horse you can't ride? Are you ready for the discussions with your vet about career-ending injuries or life-ending illnesses? Horses cost more than money. They cost time, they cost patience, they even cost your mental health. They cost your very soul. Okay, so enough gloom and doom. This video is not meant to scare you or to imply that owning your own horse is not worth the cost, because a lot of times it is. I wouldn't trade my horses for anything in the world. And even my husband knows not to ask me to choose between him and my horses. So before you buy a horse, make sure you've done all these other things first. Here we go.
I know how to ride. I don't need lessons.
Yes, you do. Everyone needs lessons. Olympic equestrians take lessons. Professional riders take lessons. The top riders in the world take lessons. Everyone needs lessons. Riding at a lesson barn ensures that you will be able to ride. If the horse that you normally ride is injured or lame, you simply ride a different horse for that lesson. If your skills improve enough that the horse you normally ride can't teach you anymore, there are other horses at the lesson barn you can level up on. Your instructor's job is to match your riding skills to the appropriate horse so you can get better in the saddle. This is the basic. This is the most important thing. Find a place to take lessons. At a lesson barn, you have access to many different horses and at least one professional instructor who can help you learn more and more as your abilities increase. Sometimes you can be a working student. Some barns have work-study programs that allow you to work off a portion of your lesson fees. This is not only a great opportunity to save money, but it's a great opportunity to acquire out-of-the-saddle experience. You will learn how to feed, how to muck stalls, how to turn out horses, how to treat injuries, how to hold horses for the farrier, and more. If you are interested in owning your own horse, being a working student is like the next level up from just taking riding lessons. You will learn a lot about what you'll need to know as a horse owner, without any of the responsibilities. Just like being a working student, volunteering at a stable provides valuable experience with the non-riding part of owning horses. Therapy programs are always looking for volunteers. There is a program at a barn near I live that caters to veterans who have PTSD. There's also a program just a couple miles from my house that offers riding lessons for children with mental and physical disabilities. Check what's in your area and volunteer your time to increase your knowledge and your experience. already have a full-time job. But if you want to own your own horse someday, you're gonna have to find time for that horse in your schedule. So you might as well at least get a part-time job at a stable. Maybe there's a place who needs someone to muck stalls and feed horses on the weekends. Maybe some place needs someone to turn out horses in the evenings. Maybe a barn just needs someone to occasionally come in to hold horses for the farrier or the vet. You'll be amazed at what you can learn just holding a horse for a vet, observing the examination, and listening to what the vet tells the horse's owner. See if you can find a part-time job at a stable. If you have time for that, you might have time for your own horse. The final step before purchasing your very own unicorn is leasing a horse. Either a full or part lease. If you've been taking lessons, working at a stable, and volunteering, you will have developed a network of equestrian professionals that you can call on who can help you find a horse to lease when you're ready. Your riding instructor may have a horse of their own that you can lease, or they'll know someone with a horse appropriate for you and your skill level. The terms of your lease will depend on you and your horse's owner, and do get everything in writing so you know what you are responsible for. But in general, a lease on a horse gives you all of the fun and none of the responsibility. Usually in a lease, you are paying the horse's owner for the privilege of riding their horse, as many times a week or a month as is in your contract. Usually the owner is responsible for things like vet bills and farrier costs, but sometimes the leasing person can have to take on some of the responsibilities. So again, make sure you get everything in writing. Sometimes in a lease, the owner will require you to take an occasional lesson. This ensures that you are riding their horse properly and not teaching their horse any bad habits. But again, that depends on your contract. Hammer out the details with the owner and get writing. If you have done all these things, you may come to a point where you realize that lessons and leasing are really all you need, or you may get to a point where yeah, it's time. You need your own horse. If you really have taken the lessons and worked at the barns and volunteered at all the places and leased several horses, you'll find that horse ownership is easier than if you hadn't done any of those things. You'll find that along the way, you've made some incredible friends, ridden some amazing horses that have taught you wonderful things, and made valuable professional contacts. Chances are you will already at this point know several vets and farriers and trainers and riding instructors. You won't feel confused or alone. You'll have almost everything already fallen into place. You may even have your eye on a particular horse for sale already. At this point, I'm not going to tell you no. At this point, it's all down to budgeting your time and your money. I hope I've given you some things to think about in this video if you are considering buying a horse. I hope you've got a better idea about how to make a plan going forward and what you personally need to do to take those steps so that eventually you can get your very own horse. And I wish you the best of luck on this journey. An extra special thank you to my Patreon supporters, without whom me owning my own horses would be much more difficult. I love y'all. And thank you for watching all the way to the very end of my video. Watch time is very important on YouTube, so thank you for doing me a solid, and I hope you have a magical day. But listen to me. Listen.